Dynasty Warriors. You either love it or you hate it, or you can be in the middle if you want. It's a series I didn't grow up playing, and I believe I've only played one of the billions of installments many moons ago, but I only put like 15 minutes into it and left it at that, as it didn't capture my interest at the time. Since then, I have never given the series the time of day, and with people saying the franchise is heavy with repetitive gameplay, I just haven't given it a second glance. That was until Nintendo came out of the blue in a Nintendo Direct and announced a crossover title between Dynasty Warriors and The Legend of Zelda. Now that there was a code of pain I knew my way around and was used to, I decided to give Hyrule Warriors a shot, and to be honest, it's actually pretty fun. Because I am not used to the gameplay of the Dynasty Warriors series, it turned out to be a fresh experience for me as a nice break from playing platformer after platformer. I like platformers. But I'm not exactly sure the same could have been said if I had played past entries in the Warriors series, as it would probably feel like more of the same content and something I would put to the side. And let me just get this out of the way. Yes, Hyrule Warriors is insanely repetitive, but Tecmo Koei, don't judge me. They find a way to work around this to help alleviate the tediousness that comes from the constant hack and slash gameplay. The main aspect of Hyrule Warriors is of course the story mode, and here you'll be going through a dozen or so missions with familiar Zelda characters and accomplishing an assortment of specific objectives in each one. The objectives include such things as taking over enemy keeps, which is done by eliminating a number of enemies within the box-like forts on the map and eventually taking out the keep leader. You'll also be sent off to destroy certain commanders on the battlefield, or even coming to the aid of your allies who are being hampered by Lizalfos, Poes, and other baddies from Zelda lore. But when it comes to Hyrule Warriors, the objectives ultimately boil down to some good old hack and slashing through literally thousands upon thousands of moblins and other minions that run around like dumbfounded little chickens. And that's one of the main gripes with this game. Each new mission you head into just feels way too similar to the last one, making it somewhat of a chore. And since each one will take minutes to complete, it makes it that much harder to come back and replay them. But besides that, there's just something super satisfying when you manage to send dozens of these evildoers flying through the air with one well-executed combo. I don't know, maybe I'm sadistic. But at the conclusion of each mission, you'll need to take your slashing skills into the ring with a boss fight that includes well-known bosses like King Dodongo or even other warriors that eventually become playable. Ironically, the giant behemoths are more akin to punching bags and are not exactly terrible terrors, whereas the enemy warriors are more threatening and fierce. Now what saves Hyrule Warriors from becoming mind-numbingly dull is the multiple different playable characters to choose from, including Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, and characters you would only dream of commandeering, like Midna, Impa, and as strange as it is, Agatha the psychotic bug princess. And there's a healthy number of characters to choose from too, which is really awesome. Each character is unique when it comes to their speed and weapons, but most importantly, their attacks and combos. If it wasn't for the multiple different playable warriors and the additional weapons that can be unlocked, Hyrule Warriors would really lose its fun factor, as you can only take so much of the same repetitive gameplay. Constantly switching between different characters between missions really helps alleviate the tediousness, as you have a whole new assortment of attacks to make sense of, and leveling up and acquiring new weapons for them is quite enjoyable. And the game even encourages you to switch up warriors, as only certain characters can be used in each mission, which is a feature I really like, as it forces you to get out of your comfort zone. Another great addition to Hyrule Warriors is the Bazaar. With it, you actually feel like there's a reason for mowing down bajillions of enemies, as they drop various materials and weapons that can be tinkered with at the Bazaar. You can equip badges to each and every warrior that will allow you to learn new moves and just overall buff up your character. But one thing that really comes in handy and is super welcoming is the training dojo. Here, you can spend your countless rupees to level up your character quickly rather than having to do tedious grinding. There's a nice balance too, so you don't abuse this commodity, as the higher the level, the more rupees it costs. And since there are so many different upgrades and additional characters to upgrade, you never run out of a reason for chopping up skellies like a madman. Now once you wrap up the game's story mode, or when you just want to take a break from that avenue of gameplay, you can always pass some time in adventure mode, which boasts an insane amount of content, and yes, more hacking, slashing, and dashing your booty off. Here you'll be doing missions that in a way are similar to the ones found in the main campaign, but are more concentrated and can be finished quicker, which for me is more inviting. For example, one challenge may be to kill 400 enemies in 10 minutes, or defeat 2 bosses in a row. What's fun about the adventure mode is trying to nab all the unlockable goodies and trying to get that coveted A ranking. These include gold sculptulas that unlock pieces to illustrations, or hard pieces that can be obtained through certain requirements, such as using a specific character, or even unlocking new weapons of playable warriors that can only be obtained in this mode. Adventure mode will also get your nostalgic juices flowing, as every mission is placed somewhere on the entire world map of the original NES Zelda. What's cool is that it's not entirely there just for looks, but certain missions, once completed, will give you items such as bombs, compasses, or candles to use on the world map to search for secret spots. And these hidden spots will be found in the same exact locations if you are actually playing the original Zelda, which will then ultimately unlock items you can try to obtain. It's just a really clever idea that gives the Zelda homage another reason for being there, other than to just hit those fields. Now graphically, Hyrule Warriors looks pretty good and runs well considering there are heaps of enemies littering the whole battlefield. I have heard on that thing called the internet that the game has frame rate issues, but for some reason I rarely recall it happening to me at all. I can't comment on the visual fidelity in multiplayer though, as I am a lone ranger when it comes to playing video games. But one of the things that really stood out to me as I went through the story was the visuals in the cutscenes. Sure, there may be no vocal chit chat between characters, but the character models and environments look really polished during these moments, and it impressed me. And even during gameplay, the flashy animations for the multitude of attacks for each character are also well done, and watching the madness ensue on screen is quite enjoyable. Now since we are talking about a game that is all about the world of Zelda, you're going to be hearing plenty of music from that highly esteemed series, and pretty much the whole soundtrack is remixes of those well-known melodies. A good chunk are heavy metal remixes, which isn't exactly my cup of tea when it comes to the musical spectrum, but these arrangements sound pretty darn good, and it fits the fast-paced and hardcore gameplay well. And if you're looking for a Wii U game that'll offer you enough content that will make breaking the bank worth it, Hyrule Warriors is that game. There is so much to do spanning across the story mode and adventure mode. Just trying to complete the story mode will take nearly 10 hours, but that's only the tip of the ice cream, as Hyrule Warriors puts a weighty focus on auxiliary content. Gold Skulltulas and heart pieces are lurking in each mission just waiting to be nabbed by hitting certain requirements, and man oh man, the adventure mode is even worse, in a good way that is. There are just so many goodies and unlockables to find in Hyrule Warriors that it would probably take over 100 hours to grab everything. But in the end, I've had a pretty grand time through my adventures in Hyrule Warriors. As I stated before, this may be because it's a more unique gameplay experience for me, as I am not used to playing the Dynasty Warriors series. And just so you know, if you play Dynasty Warriors and you don't find the gameplay to be your cup of joe, you're not going to like Hyrule Warriors. But having multiple different characters, each with their own unique weapons and attacks, is certainly one of the best aspects of this game. And if you don't mind some good old hack and slashing wrapped up in a repetitive game, then Hyrule Warriors is certainly worth checking out, and I'm glad I gave the game its time to shine. So in all, thegamingpixelshow.com finds Hyrule Warriors to be a good game. But that will bring us to the end of this review, and if you like what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up and add your favorites and all that good stuff, and you can stay tuned for more videos in the future. But I will talk to you later in the next video guys, bye!